One of the most important aspects of any video is good sounding audio. And this microphone is kind of like an industry standard. If you haven't heard of this before or seen it, I'm surprised. It's the Shure SM7B. It's a great little microphone. It's clean, it's crisp, and it's fantastic. But you're not currently listening to this microphone. You're currently listening to a $50 microphone, which is the original Rode Video Micro. So we'll come back to the Shure SM7B in a little bit, but for now, let's talk about this. A $50 microphone, the Rode Video Micro, the original one. And I know they have a new one out, which is only about $80. And I honestly think if you've got the budget for an $80 microphone, you should probably go with a new one. But if you're really tight on a budget and you're looking for something that's going to get the job done, a microphone like this is really going to sound great. And I think it does. I think it sounds really good. So the mic itself is tiny. It's really small. It fits on any camera really easily. It is powered by the camera itself, so you never need to worry about charging it, which is fantastic. And it's got a decent capsule inside. I think it sounds pretty good. It's got a good little shock mount. Not the best shock mount in the world, but it gets the job done. And then it also comes with a windscreen, or a small dead cat, as it's called, to help reduce a lot of the plosives, which are the wind noises that you might get, which is really handy when you're filming outside. Now, on its own, if I remove all of the post-processing that I've added to this microphone, I think it sounds fine. I think it gets the job done, and it's a lot better than the microphone that is built into your camera. If anything else, just don't use the microphone that is built into your camera. It just doesn't sound as good. It's not going to get the job done, and people are going to click off your videos. So use an external microphone. So again, I've taken all of the post-processing out of this microphone, and I think it sounds fine. I think it does a decent job for the money. But where this mic really shines is the fact that you can tweak it, okay? Just like video, the way I can add a color grade to this footage to bring a little bit more life to it, a little bit more color and contrast, you can do the exact same thing with microphones. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Premiere Pro and we're going to add an effect to this microphone. We're going to take a 10-band equalizer, or an EQ, which you should be able to find in any of your video editing softwares, should have an EQ that you could use to edit your audio. Just drag that, put it straight onto the audio clip and start to play around with some of those bands. Now, I'm not an audio engineer, I'm not an expert, I don't really know what I'm doing a whole lot, but I play around to try and find what sounds good. So what I'll do is I'm going to look at some of these frequencies and play around with them a little bit and try to find some of the frequencies that sound bad. This one, it sounds awful if I turn that all the way up, and then we're just going to drop that down a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit, and do that with each of the frequencies. Typically what I'll do is I'll bring down a lot of the mids. I've got quite a mid-heavy voice. Bring down a lot of the mids, increase the high end, and increase some of the bass. That gives me a nice full and round sound. I'm going to drop down some of that really high-end bass that adds a bit too much rumble. And again, the same thing with the really high-end that makes it sound a little bit too crisp. I'm going to drop that down too. And we'll just have a nice, round, complete sound. And that's how you can add really good quality audio for free on top of whatever microphone that you have. You don't need a $400 microphone to get good audio. If you want excellent audio, yeah, you'll need to invest in a better microphone. Just to increase the audio quality from the microphone itself that's on the camera, that sounds terrible, to a microphone like this, which sounds fantastic for only $50, I think is a no-brainer. And whenever this microphone is EQ'd, you can make it sound really good. It will sound similar to a microphone like this. For example, now you're listening to the Shure SM7B, which is a $400 microphone, going into a PodTrack P8, which I think is like a $600 recorder, running out, being externally recorded and added to this audio. So now you're listening to a $1,000 microphone setup compared to the $50 microphone setup before. Does it sound better? I think so. Yeah, it does sound better. But is it $950 better? That's the real question. And the answer is probably not. Now, I enjoy this setup. I have a thing for microphones. I love them. I love this microphone. I've always wanted to have one, and it's great. It does a really good job. But again, if you don't have $1,000 to spend, which most people don't on a microphone audio setup, especially if you're just getting started, then you're going to want to go for something like this, a $50 microphone, or even better, go for the new version for only $80. If you're starting out making YouTube videos, or you're doing some client work, whatever it might be, and you're just getting started, you got a cheap camera like what you're watching right now, the Sony ZV-E10, and you want to increase the quality of your product, get a microphone. $50 I think is a great deal, and it's dropped in price because there's newer options. Is it going to be better to get a newer one? Sure. Is it better to buy a more expensive microphone? Yeah, you're going to get better audio, but for the money, it's better to have a cheap microphone than no microphone at all. So here's the thing, we all want to have better gear. We want to have the newest and best thing, but sometimes that's not necessarily the right thing to do. If you're on a strict budget, if you can't afford to buy $400 microphones, don't buy a $400 microphone. work on getting a $50 microphone to sound as good as you possibly can. And the same thing is true of every piece of gear that you have. For example, you've been watching this video on a Sony ZV-E10. Great little camera, the cheapest camera that Sony makes with interchangeable lenses, and it does a really, really good job. You don't need a Sony a7S III or an FX3 to get this type of shot. You don't need a $400 microphone to get really good audio. You don't need $1,000 lights. You just need good lights. You don't need the perfect camera. You just need a good camera. You don't need the perfect microphone. You just need one that will get the job done. And this is one of those things. So if you're interested in this microphone or any of the gear that I use to make these videos, they're all going to be linked down below. They are affiliate links, so that really helps support the channel. So if you want to help support me as I continue to try and make this content, that'd be much appreciated. So if you enjoy this content, if you want to learn how to get really good image quality and audio quality for a lot less money, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button down below, leave your thoughts in the comments. I really want to know what you guys think of this audio compared to something that costs $400 to $1,000, and let me know what you think down below. And I appreciate all of you for doing so, and I hope you have a wonderful day.